What's up, everyone? Thank you so much for checking out this video here on Show Style and Spirit. I am Ebony, of course. As you can see from the title of this video, I'm going to be talking about how society guilts women into accepting babies that arrive from the result of an affair. So we have a lot to talk about. But first, I ask that you please hit the like button on this video. It will cause YouTube to recommend this video to more people who have similar interests. And also, if you have not already done so, please subscribe to Show Style and Spirit. I offer a variety of content. Of course, I do TV show recaps like Love and Marriage Huntsville, The Real Housewives of Atlanta, Belle Collective. Also, I do some interviews with reality TV stars. My most favorite so far has been with Miss Van from Love and Marriage Huntsville. I adore her. So also, I talk about subjects that relate to women. And I try my best to always, try to empower you all some sort of way when I produce content. So let's go ahead and jump right on in. So I want to say that my original inspiration was I wanted to find information on the internet that talked about why it is best for a woman to leave a marriage after her husband cheats and it results in a baby. I was actually looking for support for that, and I could not find it. So I actually have created content today that's based out of the fact that what I did find is a result of society guilting women into accepting the bull and the disrespect in the form of a baby that comes from an adulterous affair. So let's go ahead and jump right on in. And I want y'all to know I grew up in a Baptist church. My dad was a deacon. My goddad is a deacon. And so I'm not trying to go out of my way to knock down the church, but we all have been there. You know what it's like to be judged based upon what you look like, what you wear, if they can see your tattoos. And sometimes some churches really come down on the LGBTQ community, knowing that there are gay members in the church and they're willingly accepting their tithes and offerings and service in the church. So I just have to say that sometimes the judgments and the hypocrisies, it takes away from really showing the love of Christ, right? So I say all that to say, I don't want you to think that I just hate the church with me with my first example. But I found a website. It's called gotquestions.org. So I'm going to scroll up so that you all can see the question that my Google search triggered. The question is, how should a Christian spouse handle an adulterous affair that has resulted in a child? And of course, before I started reading, I thought to myself, well, I know that whoever is writing this piece is going to definitely bring up forgiveness. And that is exactly what I saw. But first, they talked about how a child is a blessing from God, and they they referenced Psalm 127, verse 3. And they also talked about forgiveness, which is what I was expecting to hear. It says, if the wife decides to remain with her husband, even after his affair resulting in a child, she must be prepared to forgive the sin. And then they did do that in a reverse in the next sentence. If the husband decides to remain with his wife, who is pregnant with another man's child, he must forgive the sin. And then they said that the Bible tells us that Christians are to forgive each other, just as God has forgiven us, Matthew 6, 14 through 15. Then the next sentence shocked me. It said, this means making the choice to put aside the feelings of anger and jealousy. So now I used to subscribe to sentences like what I just read, which is repressing how you truly feel, because if you show how you feel, then that means you're not a Christian. You don't really love God. You're disobeying God. You're coming against God. I no longer feel that way, because I know deep down in my heart that God does not want robots. He gave us all free will. I think that he appreciates a relationship that includes sincerity. And it's okay to respectfully say, I don't think that's fair what happened to me. I don't think that's fair what happened to that person. That makes me uncomfortable. Why do some kids have to be molested? Why do some women have to be raped? Or men, and when they go to prison, like, why do these things have to happen? It's okay to wonder why the evil things have to happen. I know that people also have those choices and that free will to do those evil things. But my point is, don't repress those thoughts and those feelings. He doesn't want us to be robotic. He wants the relationship to be real. So to say to someone who's forgiving a man who has a baby as a result of his affair, this means making the choice to put aside your true feelings of anger and jealousy is bull. And it's sentences like that that turns people off from organized religion and just cultivating their relationship with God in the form of attending church and the Bible classes that are associated with that church. It's sentences like that because you're literally teaching people to hold back how they truly feel, who they really are. And that's not right. And it's not healthy. So then the next paragraph says, ideally, the wife whose husband has fathered a child with someone else will be able to embrace the child as a stepson or stepdaughter, even if the child does not live in her home. She should not stand in the way of her husband forming a relationship with his child, even though this might be painful for her. He has financial, spiritual, and emotional obligations to all his children. Well, listen to whomever is the writer of this article. Yes, he has financial and emotional obligations to the child. The wife does not. And if she is staying in that marriage, she has her reasons, but don't put everything on her. You need to put some things on the husband who effed up and literally was effing outside of the marriage. It just seems like all of this burden and work and inconvenience is put on the wife who did not cheat and did not produce a baby outside of the marriage. When will men be held accountable? In the Black community, if I localize it, if you speak out about Black men, how they have a lot of unprotected sex and they don't bother to marry the women that they produce children with, they don't make six figures to produce all of these children. When you call these things out and you're Black, you're an Oreo or a coon or whatever, and then even we're seeing on a mainstream level, it's still expected for women to somehow navigate through this huge mess that the man has created. I think that there should be websites training men to know that there's more to life than just sex. And if you have a wife at home whom you can get the sex from, that should be enough. Because human beings are made up not just of the body, but mind and spirit. So there should be more to your desires than just being sexual. Sorry, y'all, I got to spell out the words. I don't want to tick off, Mrs. YouTube. All right, so I feel like, like I said, I originally wanted to find material that would support why it's healthy and best for a woman to leave a marriage when a baby is produced, and I could not find it. And I was on websites, y'all. And so I had to flip what my topic would be for this video to saying that women are guilted into accepting the bull. So that is what really triggered me. And that was all that I read. I read the beginning about the forgiveness, and I saw that paragraph about how a wife should not stand in the husband's way of taking care of the child born out of wedlock, and he has a financial obligation. There's no way that my paychecks or income from my rental property would help support a baby that was produced out of wedlock. That has nothing to do with me. So, no. So I have another website that I want to share with y'all. This time it is with Dr. Phil. So yeah, let's see what good old Dr. Phil has to say. And I do just want to say that everything said here is my opinion. It is alleged and it is for entertainment purposes only. So yeah, I'm on that type of time. I'm really triggered. So I want you all to see again, the title of these bullet points that he has put together, and it's called When an Affair Results in Pregnancy. So it talks about, now really the audience for this article, again, is the woman, the wife. And it says, an affair can cause lasting damage to both partners. When a child is born as a result of infidelity, what can you do? So Dr. Phil offers this advice. He says, don't let your feelings about the affair reflect on your treatment of the child. The child is innocent and had nothing to do with the actions of your partner. Though it may be difficult, don't withhold affection from the child. By keeping the child at arm's length, you are punishing him for something he didn't do. But it says, give yourself permission to own your feelings. Now, whenever we see the term, own, like own your actions, own it, is usually like dealing with taking accountability for a mistake that you made. So I find it interesting that Dr. Phil would pen this article saying, give yourself permission to own your feelings, almost as if the wife having feelings of anger is wrong. She should own that she feels angry about it. No, those are valid feelings. And that's why it's so important to validate yourself and empower yourself, because other people will try to gaslight you into thinking that your feelings and thoughts are incorrect. And that is not the case. I've even experienced that in an argument with my sister, Coretta. I remember her trying to say your feelings are valid, like those words came out of her mouth. So it's important that you realize that your feelings are valid. So I thought that was bull. But again, remember what I said, this article, the audience is meant to be the wife. So then I want to scroll down, y'all, because he has the nerve to give an example if the woman cheated on her husband and got pregnant. Dr. Phil says, first you need to figure out what you want. You have been putting yourself ahead of your marriage, and now you're trying to figure out what's best for you. Is your marriage worth saving? You have to tell your husband the truth. The deception has to stop. If it's not his child, he has the right to make an informed decision about his life and the marriage. Oh, really? So when the woman cheats and gets pregnant by her side piece, then she has to tell her husband the truth, and he has the right to decide if he wants to stay married to your trifling butt. But if I scroll up and the man produced a baby, then you have to make sure that your feelings do not reflect in your treatment of the child, and you have to be affectionate towards the side baby. Women are always expected to take on everything. And when a man does something, it's always a big deal. Remember in Boys in the Hood when Angela Bassett's character had to tell Larry Fishburne's character, don't think you special because you took in our kid, because you let him stay with me as a single parent and he was starting to act up. So I sent him over to your house and now he's on his way to college. Don't think you special because you did the minimum that was required. But that is exactly the type of world that we live in. That is why Martell Holt told Melody Cherie Rogers that she should have spoken to older women to get some advice on settling and putting up with the bull when he was cheating on her. It is articles like this that gave Martell Holt that fuel, that inspiration to try and gaslight his ex-wife. So y'all, I am just really tripped out that I was looking for material because I want there to be, whether I was trying to look for, whether it was like a pastor that would have the balls to say, yeah, if he cheated on you and produced a baby, you need to leave him. There's not a lot of pastors that will be like blunt about it. I have friends who have said how the pastor said, well, I don't tell nobody to leave their husbands, but don't be no fool. You know what I'm saying? Like they go around the bush about it. I was trying to look for anybody that would flat out say you need to leave your husband. I was trying to look for psychologists, and I could not find any data. But I could find articles that use the Bible to try and guilt women into putting up with the bull. And good old Dr. Phil, So y'all let me know in the comments, what do you think about how society tries to subtly and aggressively gaslight us into putting up with bull and disrespect? Please hit the like button on this video and please subscribe to Show Style and Spirit if you have not already done so. I hope you're having a great week. I went for a walk outside after work. Now that I have this content up, I'm going to do a YouTube workout. All right, so I will talk with y'all later and take good care. Bye-bye.